Should I 34M move forward with a relationship with 33F that will never compare to my first love, TW/loss of spouse? I'll try and keep this short and sweet. I met the love of my life, Cynthia, very young. She was perfect in every way imaginable. I have loved her for as long as I can remember, and our paths went many ways but always came back to each other. We got married young, and life was well. When I was 26, Cynthia got pregnant, and unfortunately both her and the baby were lost in childbirth. I grieved and struggled, and eventually made my peace with it, with a lot of therapy. I work in a booming industry and do very well for myself. I live a comfortable life and happy life now. I don't carry romantic relationships, tried, because well, I had what I wanted and I don't really feel the insistence to. I visit Cynthia's grave on her birthday and death day, and have a small picture of her in my living room, but otherwise my therapist and I discussed thoroughly not living in the shadow of her death, so I try to avoid that. All the background out the way. I have a friend, Penny, that I knew very casually when Cynthia was alive. Penny was always friendly, but really it was just overlapping circle of friends. Well, post-death when I tried dating again, Penny and I had a short fling. I was 29, and it was clear she was very quickly developing feelings for me. I realized I needed a change and some separation at the same time and moved across the country. In my move I made my peace with everything and realized I just didn't need love. A few months ago, I moved back as a great job opportunity came up. Reconnected with some old friends, and lo and behold there was Penny. Still single, and according to my friends still head over heels for me. Penny and I have gotten closer since this return. She is a wonderful woman, different from Cynthia in many ways but still incredible. Intelligent, passionate about her work, incredibly thoughtful and compassionate, and she's honestly gorgeous, not that it matters much. It's clear Penny is smitten by me, and she wants something more. She doesn't want children, something I don't want either. I've been spending a lot of time with Penny, especially during the pandemic, which has called for the restriction of who you see, and I feel as though I'm leading her on. My friends all tell me that I need to just go ahead with her, that we're perfect for each other, which in many ways I don't feel like I've connected with anyone the way I do with Penny since Cynthia. But I know I'm very take it or leave it about her. It's nothing personal, I just don't need a relationship to be happy. I think a relationship with Penny would be nice, but I know the reality is I would never love her as deeply or purely as she would me. It feels unfair to lead her into this relationship knowing that ultimately my position is indifference. But I'm wondering if that's really my decision to make. Penny knows how I feel about relationships, and while she has respected it, I really can't underscore how incredible she is. It's clear to me she would move on to the next level in a heartbeat. Am I being unfair to her by deciding preemptively what is best for her? I'm just not sure how to navigate this. Too long didn't read. My wife and child died. I've realized I don't need a relationship to be happy. An incredible woman I care about deeply is clearly interested in a relationship, and I'm not sure if it's appropriate to pursue it knowing I'm ambivalent about it all. Edit. I realize I may have misspoken a little. Cynthia was not perfect in a literal sense, no one is. But when you really love someone you love them and all their flaws, and Cynthia was perfect in the nature of being my perfect match. Also, my indifference is not towards Penny specifically, but a relationship as a whole. Penny is an amazing woman who I deeply admire, but as I said in a comment, I'm very happy on my own and relationships aren't needed for that, so I'm very take it or leave it about them. I'm gonna tell you something which I learned because I didn't live a tragedy such as you. Every relationship is different, and the very concept of love changes a lot, in part because our brains are still maturing into our early/mid-20s, and until then everything relationship-wise feels so overwhelming. As your wife passed, you didn't get to re-signify your relationship as I did with my past ones and call it maturing. I'm not saying you should get in a relationship with Penny, but you shouldn't not do it because you don't feel the same way about her as you felt for your late wife. If you ever came to love Penny, it would be a different kind of love, not one that replaces your youthful love for your wife that in some ways will always be part of you, but a new one that would add a different thing to your life. I understand why you would shut down such a possibility from your life, but trust me, a more mature love is something that can have a really great impact on your life. I recommend being open to it, even if it's not with Penny. In the end, a relationship is a choice both parties have to make on their own almost on a daily basis, and one that you can't make for the other person. So talk to Penny about how you are feeling about it, how you fear you could be leading her on because you don't really know how to love again, and I bet that, if she sticks to you, there's a good chance that, because you opened yourself to her, this fragility of yours, this new feeling which eventually you will learn to recognize as a new kind of love you didn't know before, will grow on you. It's been long enough that you should allow yourself to love again. Best of luck to you. What stands out for me the most from your post is the sense of numbness and indifference you seem to feel towards relationships in general. I get a bit of an avoidant attachment style dynamic. Look it up. And it makes sense, considering the trauma you've been through. I think if you do want to explore this further, doing some therapy with a focus on attachment and grief would be helpful. You mention your therapist advising you to not live in the shadow of her death, but grief is a non-linear process and exploring intimacy is likely to bring up some things. I think a therapist who works with an attachment focus could help you gain some deeper insight and clarity. Really giving it a fair shot with Penny could mean having to face some of the layers of defensive numbness and the detachment that's built up around the pain of her loss. After all, if you never get that close to anyone again, you'll never be hurt like that again, right? Around these kinds of losses sometimes, there's a sort of unconscious inner vow to never love anyone like that again, out of both self-protection and loyalty to the loss. It's clear from your post that you hold your late wife in high regard and feel resolved. THST the connection you felt with her cannot happen with another person. My question to you would be, are you willing to have a different relationship now? Not a facsimile of your youthful passion and romance with your wife, but a different love that comes from the person you are now, including the way these losses have tempered you and your willingness to trust and try again. Maybe let Penny read this and decide for herself. I personally wouldn't want to date someone who felt this way, and BTW, you have not processed the death of your wife if you are still thinking of her as perfect. No one is perfect. Have you discussed this with your therapist? Could you be holding back BC you fear the pain of love and loss again? Think of it from her view. Is it fair to keep giving her false hope when she could be open and ready for someone who really adores and loves her? Seriously, set her free so she can go find someone who feels like she is there. Cynthia. I'd be devastated if I were Penny, to learn about Op's feelings. M19, parents keep telling me I'm selfish about my finances. Hello. This is my first post on this subreddit, so excuse any misformatting and such. Anyways, I am a full-time college student working a $16 part-time job, 10 to 15 hours a week, as a barista since I was in high school. I stream on Twitch on the side to make some extra cash, and in 2 to 3 years time hope to earn my bachelor's degree in finance/accounting. Ever since COVID-19 happened, I've been able to apply for unemployment since around March or so, and I've accrued $10K in unemployment that I've put aside in a savings account that I have no specific plans for yet, but I'm hoping I can use that money to buy a car or move out of my parents' house. I used to live on campus at my college, but COVID also forced me to move back in as well. I wouldn't say that I am the most well-off college student, but I've definitely been a lot better about saving my money since I was in high school, putting around 50 to 60% of any income I receive into a savings account that my parents can't look at. Unfortunately, I made my Chase checkings account with my mom before I was 18, so she has been able to monitor my checking account, even to this day. I tried unlinking our account a couple days ago, but the bank told me that she would have to personally go to the bank herself and unlink it, which doesn't seem possible since she works a 9-to-5 job at home, and I feel that she still wants control of my bank account. Now here's where the issue starts. My parents bought a house last year that I believe is a bit out of their price budget. The mortgage is around $500K, and since they have been able to see how much money I've been getting from streaming, unemployment, and my part-time job they've been starting to ask me for money. She also bought a relatively new car around 25k last year. In a span of a month and a half I've already given them around 2k after, what I believe, was being guilt-tripped into doing so. They call me selfish for not helping out around the house when I've been getting money from the government that I didn't technically earn, and told me they've done so much for me. Christmas, taking care of me when I was younger, mom working overtime for me, feeding me. My mom didn't grow up particularly wealthy and has definitely worked her way up the ladder to be where she is today, but my stepdad is an IT leader in his field, so he brings in a lot of the household income. If it means anything, they are both Asian, Filipino specifically. One of the moments that really set me off was when I received money from my school because of FAFSA for college, around 3.2k. My mom immediately went into my bank account while I was at work and took out $600 without telling me, so her car payment wouldn't bounce. Keep in mind the money came in that morning and I was at work, so I wasn't expecting to look at my bank account. When I went to confront her, I asked her why she did that without consulting me first, and told me she forgot, and that anytime she asks me for money I always have something to say and questions to harbor her about, so she didn't end up telling me. She then went on to say that if my family needed help she would help them with no questions asked, and that I was selfish. My dad sided with her, saying I'm the most selfish person in the house and I'm saving up for a so-called future, as he says. This was a complete breach of my personal finances and I found it extremely disrespectful, and I made the mistake of calling my parents greedy. It just doesn't make sense to me how you can take that large amount of money and forget to tell me. It's not like I wouldn't help them if they asked, but just taking it out without having a conversation with me and then telling me I'm selfish because I asked for the common decency of letting me know first felt terrible. Last month I gave my mom $1k hoping that she wouldn't ask me for more money, but it feels like I'm stuck in the same place I was before. Their reasoning is I live in the house rent-free. They started asking me to pay $300 in rent right after this conversation and told me to pay for my own phone, and that I'm now an adult. The atmosphere in the house has been really awkward since then, and my dad believes that I didn't earn any of that money and it's all taxpayers' money that I'm siphoning, and I should be giving back to the family when they both work part-time jobs. I see my friends' parents congratulating their kids and teaching them how to manage, and more importantly, grow their finances, but it feels like I'm eventually going to get sucked into just giving them every dime I have because I'm going to keep hearing the same "you're so selfish" line. I don't even tell them my celebratory moments anymore, like finally building my PC or getting a big donation when I stream, because I know they'd be upset over it rather than tell me I'm proud of you. I guess I'm just frustrated and lost about how I should move forward and what I can do. It doesn't seem like I can reason with them or change their mind. Any advice would be deeply appreciated. Too long didn't read. Full-time college student with a part-time job and on unemployment, with parents who make me feel bad and call me selfish for not helping out, taking money out of my account and forgetting to tell me, etc. Personally, I think you are both right and you are both wrong. I agree that it's outrageous that your mom simply helped herself to your money in your account. That's not okay. I agree with the others that you should close that account and open another so that she no longer has access. It's something you will eventually need to do anyways. Unless you see yourself one day being married with kids and your mom still has access to your account, so now is as good a time as any to get that process started. That said, I think it's completely reasonable to ask your adult child to contribute financially to the household expenses in the form of rent or room and board. And yes, you should be paying for your own phone. I think you should agree to an amount that is reasonable per month. $300 per month is completely reasonable and probably only barely covers your food costs, for example. To me, the answer is in the middle. Yes, you should be contributing regularly, but no, your mom should not be helping herself to your money. My recommendation for the money part would be to open a new bank account. Get all your direct deposit information moved to a new account that only has your name on it, then transfer any leftover funds to your new account. Tell the bank you want to close the account or take your name off it, leaving it in just your mom's name. As long as you've got your shit together and aren't getting them for money every day, you aren't being selfish by keeping them out of your finances. Do not give your parents any additional money. Go to the bank, withdraw your money and open an account in a completely different bank. Make sure no one knows what you're doing, otherwise they can transfer the money before you get to the bank. Withdraw all the money from your joint account and open a new account at a different bank immediately. Open a new bank account at a different bank with your name only under a different email and password. Withdraw all your money except $50 from the account that you share with your mom and go deposit it in the new account. They are stealing from you. Change the direct deposit for your unemployment. 23M, just got out of a 5-year relationship with a girl I met a week after I graduated high school. How to start meeting new people. Hello all, as the title says, I recently split up with my longtime girlfriend. I dated around a little bit in high school until I met my ex shortly after graduation. Point being, she's all I've known in terms of women/dating. I'm at the point where I'd like to make some new friends. Here are my issues. 1. I'm not necessarily looking for sex. That will come with time, but I'm not trying to build a relationship starting there. 2. I looked into dating apps, only to realize I actually have 0 pictures of myself, and selfies are lame. 3. If it's even possible in today's day and age, I'd prefer to skip the phone and meet someone in person. 4. I know this one is kind of stupid, but I really can't tell if I'm ugly or not. I'm just looking for any advice the good people of Reddit could give me. Thanks for your time. Too long didn't read. I'm looking to meet a new best friend, just not sure where to start. Honestly, I'd focus more on finding your own happiness, and with that a relationship will come along eventually. I was super lonely after a breakup 6 years ago and struggling mentally. I started streaming video games, which I met a bunch of people through that via Twitter, and they became my friends group to go on trips with, mainly nerdy events like Comic-Con. But I had the best time. Then I also started volunteering for projects I was interested in. Personally for me it was mental health and people with LD and disabilities. Loved it. I met some amazing people through that. After that I joined groups through an app called Meetup, which helped you socialize with people with different hobbies. Went on hikes. All this built my confidence up so much. I felt like I was living a genuinely happy life alone, and with that I met someone amazing. Tried dating apps, but it all felt so forced. I wasn't connecting with anyone. Like, they were lovely amazing guys, but something was missing. I gave them up like a year and a half ago, as I wanted to meet someone naturally and build that relationship up without all the forced random chit chat and swiping. Hobbies or clubs. You need something that will cause you to interact with the same group of people repeatedly over an extended period. It's hard to make friends with someone in a single sitting, though it sounds like you're still really looking for a relationship, not friendship. After a 5-year relationship, I'd commit to exclusively platonic relationships and self-reflection for a while. If you go and only try to pal up with women you may one day want to sleep with, people will notice it and you will struggle to make actual friends. Don't be afraid to spend some time alone, but if you're gonna use an app, don't use Tinder, try Hinge. Also, you can start frequenting coffee shops for bookstores, or something else that interests you, and eventually you'll meet someone or notice another regular. That's a good way to make friends for sure. And having friends can lead to meeting someone, as friends can introduce you or take you to gatherings you wouldn't normally have attended. Can confirm, Tinder is garbage and will utterly destroy your faith in humanity and will be the closest a rational human being can get to thinking the MGTOWs have a point. Hinge, or IRL interactions are best. Work on yourself and develop some new interests/hobbies. Join groups for those hobbies. Meet interesting people you have something in common with. I think after leaving such a committed and long relationship like that, you should take time to know yourself and love yourself. Most importantly, people change over the years. You learn of new things that bring interest. That being said, first learn about yourself and people will come along the way. Don't try to rush things.